Hi, welcome back to the Doc and Diana Show. I'm Doc.
I'm Diana.
Today we're talking about, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so we had our supplement rep in not long ago and
Right.
kind of had a major aha moment. So we definitely wanted to get that information to you. So today we are going to be talking about fish oil and kind of combating some of the, I don't want to say ambivalence, but some of the concerns that patients have about cost. And,
Right.
and we want to make sure that we're being very efficient with resources, and so we want to definitely talk about our supplement and why
Yes.
they are so good and so worth it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one of the things that I see consistently is that when we pull labs, so we'll pull patients' labs, we'll bring them in for a lab review. We'll go over all of their labs, put them up on the screen, and go over how everything looks. One of the labs that we get is called an Omega3 Index. I have a post on the website, revolutionhealth.org, where I go over the Omega3 Index and what it is and what it means. And we want high levels of omega-3 fatty acids
Why?
because they're, you caught me off guard.
Yes.
They're excellent for health. There is in fact, if you have an 8% of your omega-3 index, the omega-3 index, just briefly, it's measuring the omega-3 fatty acids in the outer surface of the red blood cell. And so we can kind of extract that's happening in other cells in your body as well. Because remember, the cell membrane is made up of a phospholipid bilayer,
Yes.
which has fatty acids. So you've got this head and these two fatty acids. And you want to make sure that you get good omega-3s because it changes the characteristics of that cell membrane. And if all they were saturated fats, then you would have a very rigid cell membrane.
Meaning things can't go in and out?
Well, it would alter the permeability,
Okay.
and it would alter anytime that cell would hit something, it would fracture.
Oh,
So
dear.
it's a rigid.
Okay.
It doesn't take
We don't want
impact. Right, exactly. It's not a good thing. So if you have an omega-3 index above 8% compared to someone that has an omega-3 index below 4%, the ones below 4% have a 90% increased risk of sudden cardiac death.
Oh, there's a theme here. We've been talking a little bit about that.
Right? That was totally unplanned, by
Look
the
at
way.
that.
But that's just one of the benefits of omega-3s. They're anti-inflammatory. They help cell membranes. They're good for your brain. We see evidence with like ADHD, and even in kids, we see some benefit with brain function, behavior, things like that. All kinds of benefits to omega-3s. And certainly there's benefit in cardiovascular disease. You'll hear some that will say, oh, it doesn't make any difference. And we will have some either posts on the website or more podcasts or more videos where we go over the studies on omega-3s and why some people would say it doesn't work, and I believe that the literature is very clear that it does work, and it all has to do with the quality of the research. So I'll get off my my high horse.
So I'm a patient, and I'm in my appointment with you. You are going over my labs, and we look at it. I need these. You are recommending them, and I'm like, okay, I'll just go get some.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with the initial part of the conversation was when, yes, we do often recommend omega-3s, probably one of the top 3, maybe 4 supplements that we recommend routinely. But when we're going over their lab work and I'll see an omega-3 index of 4% or maybe 5%, my first question is, are you taking fish oil? And they'll often, many of the times they'll say yes. Of course, sometimes they say no. So my next question is, how much are you taking? And if it's 1, they need to go to 2. But my third question is, where are you getting it? If they're getting it from us, we consistently see good results. I can almost predict what their levels are going to look like in a few months because it's consistent. It works every time, and it works at lower capsule counts than what other manufacturers achieve.
So with that statement, essentially, in the long run, I could be saving money. I could be gaining benefit and saving money because if I'm buying from somewhere else, I might potentially have to take more to reach those therapeutic doses.
That's correct. And not only that, which we're going to get into, but there's also the question of toxins and toxicity and oxidation and all of those kinds of things.
Like, have you ever opened your fish oil and it smelled like you were like in
Rancid fish.
Yes, like
Yeah.
fish guts or walking through the fish market. It's not supposed to smell that way.
That's right.
Just so you know, it is not supposed to smell that way. Okay, so what else do I need to know so that I feel good about purchasing the Zymogen, the Revolution fish oils? Why would I do that?
Well, again, you get consistent results. We have no concerns about toxicity. All of the Revolution supplements, the ones that we recommend at Revolution, whether it's Zymogen, whether it's a Revolution branded supplement, all of them are tested and they're third-party tested. So we can say with certainty that this supplement doesn't have X. And how can I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a paper that shows it.
Okay, and now here's the other cool thing. This was kind of the mind-blowing thing. You need to talk to us about IFOS.
Yeah.
IFOS, because I'd really never heard of it until it was brought up. And now the fact that as a patient, I have direct access to that information, that just totally shifts the power into my hands as to what I'm going to, first of all, have knowledge about.
Right.
And secondly, now that I have the knowledge, I can make a better choice.
Absolutely.
So tell us about IFOS and why they should look it up, how they can access it, and what it means to them.
Right. So obviously when we're recommending fish oil, the first one that I'm going to recommend is either a Zymogen or a Revolution brand, because we've done the research. It's not to say they're the only ones out there that are good, but we've done the research on this and we can't go do research on every one. So IFOS stands, so if someone is taking a fish oil and they want to get it somewhere else, they don't want to use ours for whatever reason, then I'm going to tell them, make sure it is 5-star IFOS certified. So
Okay.
IFOS stands for International Fish Oil Standards, and it is an independent third-party lab that will test fish oils for quality, consistency, purity.
Does everyone have to participate in it?
Absolutely not. It is a voluntary issue where the company, so like for example, Zymogen, will send their batch, and they do batches, it's not just a one-time deal.
Wow.
So they will send that batch, that lot, to IFOS and have them tested, and you'll find the results up on the IFOS website.
So I get to access that third-party information without having to go back through
Absolutely.
Zymogen
Yeah,
Revolution.
absolutely. They have a website, and we're going to put that up on the up on a link or in the show notes or both, because it's a little bit tedious getting there. If you go to I usually just Google IFOS, IFOS, and fish oil, and it will take you to the website, but it takes some work to get to. I don't really like the way they did their organization.
So let's go an easier way. So here's the cool part. There's one of those nifty little QR squares on every bottle.
Right.
And so once this gets into the hands of the patient, it's as simple as downloading a QR code reader that accesses your camera.
Right.
When you open that app, all you have to do is take the bottle, and it's going to scan the code. And again, we'll write all these shortcuts out to you. But then it pulls up a screen which will give you a direct link to that report, so you're not fishing through a website trying to find it. So once you click on that, it's going to open it up to, and it says Zymogen on it, and you can scroll through. It gives the list of the different supplements that will contain the fish oil.
So here we've got the MonoPure 1300, and we also have the CoQ Max Omega, which I love this one because it has the CoQ10 plus Omega3s, which CoQ10 has to be dissolved in an oil because it's lipid soluble, so they used Omega3s, which I think is brilliant. But both of these will be two separate tests on there.
And so you just scroll through and you find the supplement name that you're looking for. So did MonoPure earlier. So I'm going to do the CoQ Max Omega. This is 100 milligram. So you choose it, but you're not done yet. You actually get to identify your specific lot.
Right.
So you look on the bottom of your bottle, you find the specific lot, and choose it. And then click See Report. At that point, it pulls up the report. Do you want to talk to them a little bit? I mean, it's very reader friendly,
Yeah.
but do you want to get a little bit more specific about what they're looking at and what it actually means to them?
Absolutely. So the first page on the report is just giving you the kind of the demographics of the company, as in the company being tested, the fish oil being tested. Was it 5-star certified by IFOS? Yes or no? And then it has the lot numbers and those kinds of things. On page 2 is I think the critical information. There are 4 categories of information on here, and the first one is so category 1 is potency. And so it's going to have, when we talk about fish oil, we're talking about 2 long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. They're EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, and DHA, which is docosahexaenoic acid. It's a 20-carbon and a 22-carbon omega-3 fatty acid. It's another topic.
I just love it when you speak nerd.
So you're measuring the quantity of EPA and DHA, and then of course it'll tell you your total omega-3. So this particular supplement has 230 milligrams per soft gel of EPA, and it had 100 milligrams of DHA. So it's a 2.3 to 1 ratio of EPA to DHA with a total omega-3 of 347.6 milligrams. And so that's what is stated on the label.
It is.
And
yeah, it's cool.
I'm
sorry, mind blown. It's such accountability.
Right. So on this batch, though, it actually had 249 milligrams of EPA and 107 milligrams of DHA.
They're over-delivering.
Correct. And that's per soft gel. So you get 399 or almost 400 milligrams of omega-3s in there. So that's number 1. Now, when you're looking at these, most of the ones that I looked at on IFOS have been 5-star rated. That does not mean that they are all equal. Some of them will just barely nudge over a given result, and some of them will knock it out of the park.
But all we see is the stars until we get into
we get into this stuff right here,
okay.
the page 2. So category 1 is potency. Category 2 is the purity, safety, and cleanliness. So this is where we get into the PCBs, which is the polychlorinated biphenyls.
Yeah.
PCBs. They're toxins, and the standard limit for IFOS is less than 45 parts per billion. This batch came in at 2 parts per billion. So they want less than 45.
Wow.
This particular one came in at 2. The next one is dioxins and furans and dioxin-like PCBs. So these dioxins are environmental chemicals. They're toxins. They vary greatly in their potency of toxicity, but they're naturally produced. Volcanoes make it, but you also make it when you burn trash in your backyard.
Okay.
So those are a couple of things. They want less than 1.5 PPT. I don't remember what PPT is, part per whatever. And this one came in at 0.2. So again, way under their limit. One that I don't see on every test is radioactivity. Not all of the fish oils or the manufacturers will test for radioactivity. This particular one does. Now, why would they do that? When you look at the Fukushima, I think I'm saying that right. The Japan, the nuclear reactor, wasn't that Fukushima?
Google it.
Yeah, there you go. So when that tsunami hit, knocked out the power reactor, radioactivity fell into the ocean, and so we're measuring how much radioactivity is there. And certainly in environmental toxicity and all kinds of things, you could get some radiation. So Zymogen does measure their radiation, and it came in well below threshold. Category 3 is stability. So here we talked about when you open the bottle, it smells like, it could smell like rancid fish or rotting fish, that really strong fish that you would smell. Not good. That's because they are oxidized omega-3s.
And that just means our oxygen has had access to it.
And it has had that chemical reaction.
Right.
The oxidation is really the chemical reaction of the transfer of electrons. But
creating a toxin.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and free radicals and...
It's just all the bad juju.
When you take an oxidized fish oil, you are consuming something that has the potential to to cause oxidative stress in your body. You don't want that.
No, inflammation and all
Right,
the other bad
exactly.
guys come along.
Exactly. So it is better to not take a fish oil than it is to take a fish oil
It smells like fish.
that smells like fish, and that's rancid. So don't take one of those. So how do you know? Well, again, they test. They test a couple of different things. Peroxide levels and anisodine and TOTOX, which is total oxidative stress here. They want less than 19.5, and they came in at 1.9, so less than 1/10
And we're still
of the
in
cutoff.
just category 3. Right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we're going into category 4, which is the final one. And so here we're looking at heavy metals. So, a lot of pregnant women are told, or just don't eat seafood while they're pregnant because they're concerned about heavy metals, mercury, those kinds of
Valid,
things.
right.
And I certainly get that. So here we want to test our fish oil to make sure we're not getting heavy metals
And
within them.
supplements.
Mercury, they want less than 0.1 parts per million, and the batch results came in at less than 0.01 parts per million. They want all of the lead, arsenic, and cadmium, they want all of them at less than 0.1 parts per million. And all of them came in at less than 0.04 parts per million or less. So 0.01, 0.02, and
Yeah.
0.04. A lot of zeros in there.
Wow.
So this particular product was
Yeah, just this batch
right
belongs to that.
was IFOS compliant on every category and received a 5-star rating from IFOS. So that is a supplement that I can stand behind and say that one has been tested, and I feel comfortable recommending that to a patient. And while we're on that topic, there's a lot of information out about, in the cardiovascular world, and you'll have cardiologists that are recommending some prescription grade or prescription versions like Visipa, Lovaza that are omega-3s, but they are EPA only. You're only getting one of the fish oils because the EPA has more data for cardiovascular, but the DHA has some data for some other things, brain function and other things. And I think it's important to get a combination of both. But they are saying don't get a supplement, get the prescription. Why would they say that? They say it because there's a lot of junk out there, and we've
Just say, got it.
exactly.
Okay.
So they're saying you can't trust those. Don't take them. Stick to the one that is prescription grade.
But now you can.
Exactly. And not only that, the Zymogen as a manufacturer, and we do use some other supplements, but Zymogen is my favorite because we
Of the
have
accountability and
you've got accountability. We can get a letter of
standards.
what do you call that? The certificate of analysis, a COA. We can get a certificate of analysis on every batch. We have toured the manufacturing facility. We've seen how they do it. So I am not a stockholder. I don't get a red cent from promoting Zymogen over another supplement. My whole goal is that we get cost-effective, high-quality, non-toxic, effective supplements. And that's what I've seen consistently with Zymogen, and I can see that in the lab reports that we get.
Mm-hmm.
We can see that in the IFOS reports that we get. And I can't say that about many of the other manufacturers. So I'm not trying to talk bad about any of the others, but I know these.
But I mean, also even the supplement company, they're privately owned. So
Correct.
there's no
Yeah.
accountability or allegiance to anyone except for their own standards and their own processes because they're like us and they want to deliver those cost-effective,
That's right.
highly efficient,
Right.
gold standard type products because that's their name behind it.
Right. And again, this video is not about promoting Zymogen. However, I just get good, consistent results with them. So if you want a fish oil that works and works well, then this is where I start. Other people, if they want to go get supplements from somewhere else, make sure they are IFOS certified. And there are some companies that are well known in their name.
And some that even used to test and then
Correct.
quit testing.
Correct. And it raises the question for me, why did they stop testing?
Mm-hmm.
And, because it's completely voluntary. So it just raises some concern. Does it make it bad? No. But how do you know?
and I like to know, especially if I'm gonna take it myself, give it to my family,
Right.
my kids.
Right.
I want to know what I'm getting them.
And I can say I've tracked this in my own labs. I'm my own guinea pig. I'll take a certain number
So true.
and see what happens on the lab results, because again, I want to make sure that I'm getting good recommendations to patients. So I started off with one fish oil capsule a few years ago, and my omega-3 index without taking fish oil was 5.2, which I thought was pretty decent. But after taking one, I got it up to like 6 point something. I wanted it above, at least above 8, if not above 9 or maybe even 10. So I went up to 3 capsules of the Monopure 1300. And I got my levels in the 11s on the omega-3 index. Dropped it back down to 2, and I'm holding in the 9s.
He was growing gills. No, I'm just kidding.
So I'm holding in the 9s on 2 capsules. They're pretty large capsules, but it's worth it, and I think it's good stuff, and I can see that in my lab results, and also in my oxidative stress markers. I'm not seeing a lot of oxidation there as well.
Awesome. So, quick summary: supplements can be amazingly powerful.
Absolutely.
So know what you're taking, and here we do. We can quick access to a report that's not coming from the person that sold it to you or the person that made it. So it's completely third party, free information to you just
Unbiased.
simply by scanning a code that is going to be on every batch you buy. So if you buy one and then you come back, 3 months later and you buy another one, you just scan it again, find that lot number, and you get that information again specific to those materials, that bottle.
Exactly. It's a great way to go.
Anything else that we need to know about fish oil? We know it's good for the brain. We know it's good for cardiovascular, which I'm sure you will touch on more in depth later as we continue this cardiovascular disease journey with you and your research. So anything else we need to know?
Oh, I think there's tons that we need to know, but
We're going to save that for
we'll hold that.
We're going to just save that. Guys, thanks for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like this video. Share it with someone so that we can continue to get the word out, patient education, and let you know what's going on with health. And go ahead.
I was going to say, leave some comments. We love to get comments, and we want to make sure that we're giving good information and good videos. And is the lighting good? Is the sound okay? Is our background
Are we dressed all
okay? It's anything. Give us your feedback. It's great or it's awful. We want to make sure that we're doing good stuff that's beneficial to you guys.
And topics. So if you've got something that you are super curious about and you want to know where Doc stands on it, then definitely leave that in the comments. Reach out to the office. You can always go to our website and contact us through there. We'll leave that link on the bottom so that you can access us. You can also reach us at 918-935-3636. And that's pretty much it for now.
Awesome. Thanks so
Thanks.
much. See you next time.